Hi guys, hope you all are doing great today, and today I am going to show you how to take accurate body measurements. And to start, we're going to start with taking our shoulder to shoulder measurements. Just place your tape rule from one tip of the shoulder to the other tip of the shoulder and place it from one tip to the other tip, and this is how you get your shoulder to shoulder measurement. Now the next measurement you need to take is your bust circumference. Now the fullest part of your bust is the bust circumference, and this is how to take the measurements. Place your tape rule around your body on the fullest part of your bust. Place just one finger in. Make sure the tape can freely move around, and make sure it's not too tight and you can still move it around with just one finger inserted inside. And this is how to take your bust circumference. Now the next measurement you need to take is your shoulder to bust point, which is also called the nipple point. Now place your tape rule on the highest point of your shoulder, just right here, and for me it is also right here. Okay, place your tape rule on the highest point of your shoulder like this and take it to where your nipple point is. Whatever you get is your nipple point measurement. Now the next measurement you're going to take is the nipple to nipple measurement, which is also called the bust span measurement. Now place your tape rule on one nipple to the other nipple of your body. Place your tape rule from one nipple to the other nipple, and whatever you get is your nipple to nipple measurement, which is the bust span. Now the next measurement you're going to take is the shoulder to under bust measurement. Place your tape rule on the highest point of your shoulder like this. Make sure your tape passes through your bust and take it to the under bust, which is where your bra sits underneath your bust, and that is where your under bust is. Okay, some people usually take their under bust circumference, but I do not take that because at the end of the day the under bust sinks in with the waist. But this is how to take your under bust circumference. Take your tape rule around the body like this, put in just one finger around the under bust area. That is where your tape should be, and make sure your tape can freely move around. Now the next measurement we're going to take now is the shoulder to waist area. Now the waist is in two ways. There is the upper waist and the lower waist, and the upper waist is the tiniest part of the waist. When you bend over slightly, and the part that goes in is that tiniest part of your waist. There is usually that tiniest part of the waist when you look at the waist, okay? And that part is the tiniest part of the waist, which is also called the upper waist. Now the lower waist is the navel point, and the navel point is right where my pants is sitting right now. Now it's left for you to decide the design you are going for. Usually the tiniest part, the shoulder to the tiniest part of the waist is usually nicer for dresses and for jumpsuits. There are so many of them. You can use the shoulder to the tiniest part of your waist, but it depends on the design you are going for. It's usually more flattering to use the tiniest part of the waist as your shoulder to waist area, but it depends on the design you're going for or design your client wants. So it's left for you to determine or decide where you want your shoulder to waist to start. Okay, place your tape rule on the highest point of your shoulder and take it all the way. Make sure it passes through your bust and take it to the tiniest part of the waist or the navel point. Okay, it's left for you to decide what you want or what your client wants or the design you're going for, okay, or the kind of look you want. Now the waist. The reason why this is here is for you to know where the waist is. You can also do this on yourself. Get a ribbon or an elastic or a tape and tie it around the waist area so you won't make mistakes, so you know where your waist is. Now it's very important for you to know that the front shoulder to waist is usually longer than the back shoulder to waist, and this is because of the bust we have in front. Okay, now the front shoulder to waist for my mannequin is 16.5 inches. The back shoulder to waist is 14 inches. Now you can see hers is difference of 2 inches, and the shoulder to waist of the front is usually longer than the back by 1 to 2 inches. For me, my front shoulder to waist is 17 inches and my back shoulder to waist is 15 inches, which is different of 2 inches. And the front shoulder to waist, like I said, is usually difference of 1 to 2 inches from the back For me, when drafting my pattern, I usually use my back shoulder to waist, because using your back shoulder to waist helps to prevent gaping at the back and all these folds at the zip area at the back. And this happens if you use your front shoulder to waist, and if your front shoulder to waist is way longer than the back shoulder to waist. Another way to eliminate back gaping or back folds, you can use bust darts to eliminate back gaping and back folds. Now the best method and the easiest method is just to use your shoulder to waist, your back shoulder to waist measurement. At the same time, it's left for you to decide what you want and what you're used to and what you're comfortable with. Now the next measurement we're going to take is our shoulder to hip. Now to take the shoulder to hip, it's usually best to take the shoulder to hip at the back. From the highest point of your shoulder, take your tape like this, all the way to the fullest part of the hip. All the way to the fullest part of the hip. Now the fullest part of the hip can be determined by the fullest part of your butt area. Now the fullest part of my mannequin, now as you can see, this is the fullest part of our butt area and it is 24 inches. Place your tape on the fullest part of the shoulder. Make sure your tape passes through the bust, and all you have to do is eyeball where the fullest part of her hip is like this, and whatever you get is her waist to hip measurements. And this is how you take your waist to hip measurements. Place your tape through like this and just measure, and whatever you get is your waist to hip measurements. Now, next measurement we're going to take right now is the hip circumference. And this is how you take the hip circumference. Make sure your tape sits at the fullest part of her butt. Make sure your tape sits at the fullest part of the butt, okay? And make sure your tape can freely move around, and remember to insert just one finger in like this, and make sure your tape can still freely move around, and whatever you get is your hip circumference, okay? So now we're going to be taking our armhole circumference, and this is how to take the armhole circumference. Place your tape rule on your shoulder tip, right where you took your shoulder to shoulder measurement. Place your tape rule like this, and make sure it's not too tight, make sure it's not too loose. Place in just one finger and make sure your tape can still freely move around, and whatever you get is your armhole circumference. Now the next measurement you're going to take is your sleeve length. Now this is how you take your sleeve length. Place your tape rule right same place you took your shoulder to shoulder measurement, at the shoulder tip, okay? Place your tape rule right there, and it's best to get someone to take this measurement for you anyways. So place your tape rule like this and take the length you want for your sleeve, and whatever you get is your sleeve length measurement. Now wherever your sleeve stops is your sleeve circumference or your arm opening. Now place your tape rule like this. Let's say your sleeve stops right here. Place your tape rule like this around your arm, okay? Place your tape rule around your arm. Insert just one finger. Make sure it can freely move around, and this is your armhole opening circumference measurement. Now if your sleeve stops right here on your wrist, take the wrist circumference like this. Insert just one finger and make sure you can freely move around. Make sure the tape can freely move around, and whatever you get is your sleeve circumference. Now when taking your dress length, place your tape rule at the highest point of your shoulder and make sure the tape rule passes the bust, okay? Make sure it passes the bust. Once you get to your waist, you can just hold it down like this and continue all the way to where you want your dress to stop. Maybe you want it to stop around the knee area, then you can stop here, or you can take it all the way to the full length. And that is how you take your dress measurements. Now let's say you want to make a skirt. Let's determine if the skirt is going to start at the tiniest part of your waist or at the lower part of your waist, okay? Now the tiniest part of the waist measurement is usually different from the lower part of the waist, which I said is the navel area, okay? So now you need to take that measurement if you're making a skirt and you want it to start, or you're making a trouser and you want it to start at the navel point, you need to take that navel circumference, okay? Once you've taken that measurement, you're going to take the length from that navel point. You're just going to take the length like this. You're going to take the length like this. If you're going for the knee, you take it to the knee, okay? If you need it 3/4, maybe you want it to be 3/4, or you want it to go all the way down. The length on that ankle area, you take the leg opening, which is the leg circumference, okay? Whatever you get is going to be your leg circumference, okay? If you want your pants to be 3/4, you want it to stop right here, take your circumference like this. It's still the same all the way, it's just the same. Now if you're making pants and you don't know how to take your thigh circumference, this is how to take the thigh circumference, okay? Take your thigh circumference like this. This is how you take your thigh circumference, okay? Remember to put in just one finger. Make sure it can freely move around, okay? This is how you take your thigh circumference. You can see that. Do is take your tape rule and take it under like this. You need to make sure that your tape sits right before your waistband, on the waistline, just where your waistband starts, okay? So also for the front, you take it like this and make sure your tape stops right where the waistband starts. And that's basically that, guys. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up and hope to see you in more tutorials to come. See ya.